Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 7 of CX Talk. My name is Dave Murray, Senior Consultant for the DiJulius Group, and I am alongside, as always, John DiJulius. John, how are you?
Hey Dave, I am great. Looking forward to this episode.
Yes, this will be a good one.
I thought we changed your title.
Oh, that's right. I am engineer...
Experience
engineer.
engineer.
That's so new, I have to remember it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
You
I
do
like it.
engineer experiences.
I do, every
You
day.
do, you do.
Every day.
What do you
So,
got?
we have a lot to talk about today, and we're going to dig right into it. One of the things that I love hearing people say whenever we go out and speak is how we've given them the DiJulius Group curse.
Yeah.
That whenever they go out, they now are observing these bad experiences, or especially negative cues.
They can't just enjoy
Right.
an experience. They're seeing things. It's like having those night vision goggles on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It is a curse because you see things you never saw before.
Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to negative cues. There are so many that we walk by every single day and really never pay attention to. But once you're exposed to them and why they're there, which usually isn't a good reason at all, they really kind of pop out at you.
Yeah, so a negative cue is anything that the customer can experience. It's signage, it is warnings, it's in agreements, it is words we used. There's so many negative cues, and it's so funny that so many businesses' experiences are written, so they're not taken advantage of, and they agreements and the signage we see sound so angry at times. So yeah, you're right. I love doing the exercise because people chuckle and laugh at all the crazy signs, but then when we do their audit, they're surprised that they have more than they think.
Oh, absolutely. And I have a great example for you on that one. I was recently out doing a service vision workshop with a client of ours, and we got to the point where I was discussing negative cues, and it was typical where people were saying, oh, that company is so dumb, how could they ever do that, right? As we always hear. And then I said, okay, now we're going to talk about some of your negative cues. And before I was even able to break them up into groups to have that discussion, people just started raising their hand and shooting them out, saying, well, we do this, and why is our bathroom door locked in our office? And all these things just surfaced really, really quickly. And inevitably, as usual, the answer as to why they were doing it that way is because that's the way we've always done it, and no one's ever questioned it. So I find going through that exercise to be so helpful, and something that all companies should do on a regular basis, whether they've done a service vision or not. You should always be looking at all your policies and procedures and looking for negative cues, because there are so many out there, and when we're not looking for them, we just kind of ignore them and walk by them every single day.
Yeah, and so my favorite quote to this, Dave, is build your company's customer experience as if no customers had bad intentions. And that's so true. So where are some places people can look for negative cues in their own business?
Everywhere. Their website, within their office, signage in their office. What does that signage look like? Is it actually a nice sign, or is it just handwritten? There are so many things that when you really think about it, could be extremely negative.
Yeah, don't punish 98% of what your customers are doing, or what you think your customers may do for that 2% that may actually do it. So I think that's a great point. And it's imperative that we give an audit of our own negative cues.
Absolutely, and it's kind of fun too when people realize, hey, we're doing that same thing. Why are we doing that?
Right.
So it's a great process. Speaking of negative cues, I wanted to play you something that I thought sounded a little negative that Nicole in our office heard just the other day and sent along.
We want to give you the best possible service, but because of today's travel conditions, we're getting more calls than our system can handle. Please give us a call back later, or you can manage your trip, find information, and more at usairways.com. Thanks for your understanding.
So that's from US Air. On a recent day where apparently they were having some weather issues across the country. And just imagine if you're a traveler and you don't have web access, you're either in a car or you're in the airport and you're stressed, you don't know what's going to happen, you have to reschedule, you have somewhere to be, and so you just need to call somebody, and you were basically told, we'd love to help you, but we can't right now.
Yeah. They didn't give any options.
No.
Not too many options, and you're dealing with high anxiety. I mean, like you said, you're stranded. Be empathetic. give me some solutions, even if it's, it's gonna be a long hold. Your situation is important to us and we wanna help you get there. Great example. That brings up another point, Dave. The first impression of every business is their call center, their contact center, their customer service reps, support, whatever it may be. And it's just mind-boggling the little investment companies make in this. And we've been guilty of it too. John Roberts Spa is a call center. We used to call it a call center. And, they're in this tight room and, it's not anything to look at and, it's mundane and it gets old. It gets old. The same calls every, 3 minutes, same answers. And so, we've done a lot of work. We've even had you come into John Roberts and work with that team and figure out ways to make it more fun, make it more enjoyable, create empathy and compassion for them. But the thing is that so few companies really invest, and I know you wrote an article about this a while ago called, the call centers today are the modern day white collar sweatshops.
Correct, yes.
And that is so true. And the thing is that they're just not like in the warehouse packing, things and don't come in contact. They are our first impression. And then the ambassador of the company, and literally every customer virtually comes in contact with them. And it's not their fault that they could be tired and weary and frustrated. So that is why we have learned from the best, changed our call center at John Roberts to a relationship center, and just have seen amazing turn in their attitude and their job satisfaction, and call them Director of First Impressions. Which is why in a few weeks, mid-April, 15th and 16th, we are having our first Relationship Center workshop that you're conducting for 2 days because of your history of running contact centers in your previous lives. And I think it's so important. I believe there's a few seats left, but it's really learning how to turn your contact center, your call center, into a relationship center and change their mindset. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I'm so excited about this class in just a couple of weeks because, quite honestly, to go from being a call center to a relationship center is not all that difficult. You have to make some minor tweaks that we'll be talking about, and the great end product is that your employees will be happier, right? Your team members will like their jobs more. It makes it more fun for them to come to work. They perform better when they have more of a vested interest in your customers. And so it's a win-win across the board. And again, it's not all that difficult. We'll talk about a lot of ways where they can better be using the information they're receiving from our customers and turn it back into a better experience for your customer. I have to go back to Tony Shea from Zappos after hearing that US Air recording. And Tony has always said that they see their relationship center as their best way of developing their brand. It's their best marketing opportunity that they have. And again, going back to that US Air example, people typically call for a reason. They didn't want to go online. For whatever reason, they wanted to talk to somebody. So if you're going to have a call center, it's your duty to be there for them and not send them to the website. So there are so many great opportunities, and we're not talking about adding a lot of resources. We're not talking about adding a lot of expense. It's just making some minor tweaks and changes to what you have to make it so much better.
If you have a call center, contact center, customer service center, we got to send your leader to this relationship center because it's going to change how they think. They're going to become the ambassadors for your customer and the guardian of your customer experience, which will change their entire mentality and approach on serving your clients.
Great. Thank you, John. We'll be right back.
The Customer Experience Executive Academy, preparing customer service executives to lead, design, and manage the customer experience. Applications for 2015 courses now being accepted. Find out more at cxeacademy.com.
Welcome back to CX Talk, episode number 7. And John, I am happy to announce that we have a special guest joining us today. Why don't you tell us about her?
I will. It is the one and only Holly Stiel, our friend who has presented at the Secret Service Summit a few years ago. My longtime friend and mentor. She's taught me so much. Welcome, Holly Stiel.
Thanks, John. It's so great to be here. And Dave, hi.
Hi,
Thanks
Holly.
for having me.
Holly, we are so excited to announce to our audience that you're going to be back this year because of the outstanding presentation you gave a few years ago. And people requesting more of Holly Stiel. You can never get too much of Holly. You have agreed to come back, and not only as a presenter, but you are going to be our MC, Master of Ceremonies, and you're going to do a breakout room. We are so excited to have you back. What made you come back? Why'd you say yes again?
Well, after you had invited me to be a speaker a couple of years ago, I was so excited by this conference. I was literally thrilled. I was so excited to be a speaker because this conference is focused on exactly where my passion is. And while I've attended all sorts of conferences, this is the only one that really focuses on service. And it's every single speaker was something that I wanted to hear. Every single thing that you talk about is of interest to me. So I was so excited that the following year I paid to be a participant because I thought it was so valuable that I just wanted to come as a participant. And I made pages of what I would call my keepers, and that I've used a variety of things that I learned at that conference with clients in the following year. I mean, even in the following week, I used an activity that I saw at the Secret Service Summit. And it was just, everything is so right on, spot on, and targeted. And as I've told you, John, many times, you have done something that I think is so brilliant because you've been able to figure out how to systemize service and bring that into companies. And I just think it's brilliant, and I love being a part of it. Thank you.
Well, Holly, that means so much to me and all of us. I mean, you are the been a customer service expert for decades, and that you come, you speak, and then you come back the next year and pay to be an attendee. And I saw you. You're writing notes as if you were a first year out of school, at a front desk position, and it's humbling to see that, that's why you're where you are, because you're always looking for opportunities and learning. What I'm most excited about, I'm excited to have you. I'm really excited for our attendees to have you as the MC, because your energy, you have such a high intellect with this. Practically all the speakers. You've actually helped me get half of them, if not more, because of your recommendation. So I'm really excited that the attendees have this professional MC that can close the loop and put everything in perspective for them, because it is overload. When you have 12 to 15 speakers, it can be overload, and I think you are the key to this entire event. Can you share what that looks like for you?
Well, thanks so much. I love it because I think the idea of the whole conference is focused, though, on service, whether it's from the practicality of the specific exercise or behavior, or the truth about being inspired to serve from the inside out. And so to be able to connect the dots from speaker to speaker to speaker of what you can take back with you, because even though everyone is hearing the same speaker, they may be taking back completely different nuggets from what they heard and bringing it back to their business. And so the idea of making that a seamless stream is exciting to me, and that aspect of kind of doing it on the spot, because there isn't something that I can write a script for. It really has to be an in the moment experience, and isn't that what service really is anyway? It's just a moment by moment connection, and I think that to take that moment by moment connection in the exact moment and pull all that together is an exciting job for me to have, and knowing how valuable all of these people who you're bringing in really are, that'll be fun to be able to actually focus on what they're saying and then be able to pull that together. And we might even have some interactive things that I can bring in between as well. So I'm just looking forward to creating that and being really focused in the moment.
And that's exactly, I think, what this summit has been missing. We've always had an amazing lineup of a dozen speakers, and sometimes that's too many. I mean, how can you say having 12 great speakers is too many? But your mind is just spinning, and you're overwhelmed. And while I don't want to reduce the quality of our speakers, I think having you there to just catch our breath, say, I know you've written down 2 pages of notes. Let me tell you what to do with them now is going to be the missing link that we've all had, that people can go back in 6 months, say, I actually am doing what I heard. And it was through Holly's action plan and her way to make it a live in my parking lot. So I'm really excited.
I am too, Holly, and I have a question for you. First, I want to know what you've been up to since we saw you last, because you do so many interesting things. And I'm also wondering if you could tell us what you've learned recently that you'll be sharing with our audience at this next summit.
Breakout?
It's really been fun. I've had a lot of clients recently that are not at all to do with hospitality. I've been working with a real estate company, and I've been working with a senior living. And the idea of taking all of these concepts of hospitality and bringing them into other industries, and to really get that what it all is about is creating a feeling for people to be welcomed and cared for and truly seen. Because it's really about this human-to-human connection, no matter what. And something funny happened the other day. I was in Yosemite, and I saw a poster, and it was by Stephen Mather, who was the very first, head of the National Park Services in America. And on this poster, this was Stephen Mather's motto, and he said, "Get them in, make them happy." And I thought, how timeless is that? It says everything that we need to know about business in 6 words. Get them in, make them happy. And I think that making people happy is about connecting to something bigger than you, which is really a huge part of what you walk away with from the Secret Service Summit. That if you are part of this revolution, if you are part of this idea that service, by whether it's helping children to make their dreams come true, or whether it's taking your own employees and giving them something to hang on to, that there's a bigger piece here about making people happy. And if you don't get it in the first place, that's all about getting customers. But in just 6 words. And I thought, well, that's really what it's all about. So what I try to do in my work is to help people understand how to connect to that bigger piece.
That's awesome, Holly. I remember something you said, and you said a lot of great things the last time you spoke at the summit that I quote you all the time. Must be present to win.
Oh, yes.
I love that. I love that. It must be present to win. And what I like is you're just not giving metaphors and hyperboles, but you give the how-to instead of just, go say, make customers happy. So tell us, what can our attendees get from attending your breakout room this year?
Well, that'll be really fun, because over the years I've realized that there's a couple of skills in hospitality and service that are really paramount. And one of the reasons that they're so important is because these are the really difficult ones. And that is when you can't always say yes. And there is no way to yes. You really need how to understand how to make no fly. So I have something that I call the wings of no, how to make no fly. And I'm going to dive into, I call it the two most difficult skills in service. And the other one is that sometimes we mess up. People mess up. That's what happens. So understanding the power and the artistry of a great apology. So we're going to look at two really specific skills, and I'm going to give you very simple and memorable ways to be able to bring that back to your businesses and work with your staff on how to make no fly and the art of the apology. And also some little things in between when I'm the MC, I can do little things of exactly what you said, like let's say you have to be present to win. I could do just a little activity showing how to express that back in your businesses.
Holly, you are awesome. We are up against the time, but we are so excited. That's why we wanted you to be the first speaker that we announced to the public. You are going to make 2015 Secret Service Summit the best ever. Thank you so much for being a part of it.
Thank you. My pleasure. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, Holly. Thank you.
10 speakers, 2 days, 1 event. The Secret Service Summit, America's #1 customer experience conference. Tickets available now at secretservicesummit.com.
Welcome back to CX Talk Episode 7. One of the things that we do here each show is talk about a chapter, John, in your new best-selling book on customer service, The Customer Service Revolution. And so this episode we are up to chapter number 3, which is all about service aptitude.
Yeah, and service aptitude is something I could speak on for hours and do. If you've ever heard me speak, you've heard it, but it can't be said enough how good your company's customer experience is really predicated on the service aptitude from the CEO, president, down to the employee that is going through orientation. And the key is no one has service aptitude when we started. You didn't, I didn't. I doubt, Howard Schultz had high service aptitude. It's not something that we're innate with. Service aptitude comes from 3 primary places, all right? And that's, I want to challenge you and your team when you're reading the book is to find out what those 3 places are and, which ones you can control. I'm going to tell you, but I really think that needs to be a project that you and your team do as reading each chapter. The first place is previous life experiences. Most of us don't grow up driving Mercedes-Benz, flying first class, and staying at 5-star resorts. Yet owners, managers expect frontline employees to give that type of experience. And it's just not possible because that's not what they're used to. They don't know what world-class looks like. The second place is previous work experiences. And every one of us and every one of your existing employees and future employees have worked somewhere else. And unless you're taking them from the Ritz-Carlton, Nordstrom's, they work for someone that isn't world-class and may be more paranoid and suspicious than naive. And they've been taught to not trust the customer, as we talked about negative cues and all those things. We can't control 1 and 2. We can't control what their previous life was and what their previous work experience. The third place, do you know what the third place is, Dave?
I do, John.
What is it?
It's where you are now. It's us teaching your employees.
Your current work experiences. Yes. And that's it. So you got to audit yourself. How much time do you put into new employees before you cut them loose, before they interact with a client, guest, patient, or tenant? And I'm sure you all train, but of that time you train, be it a day, a week, a month, how much is hard product knowledge, how to cook the meals, how to process the orders, how to ring up people, versus soft skill, relationship building, doing all those things. And most of the time it's 99% hard. And so you're sending them out there, without increasing their service aptitude. So my favorite and most important quote I can give you around this topic is that it's not the employee's responsibility to have high service aptitude, it's yours, the organization, the leader, to give it to them. So you have to make sure that your orientation training and ongoing is constantly visiting their service aptitude and certifying them like you would how to cook, how to do books, how to rant. that you would have to certify them through the ESAT in different ways before they let them work with a customer. And last thing I want to talk about is world class starts at the top. And we make fun of these negative cues and silly policies. You got to have executive sponsorship, and you got to have leaders who are OCD about the customer experience. Have you ever watched, read, listen to an interview by Steve Jobs, Howard Schultz, Walt Disney, Tony Hsieh, Richard Branson? Whatever the topic is, they bring it back to the customer experience. They are OCD, and you can tell why their company is. So the companies that do horrible things, have horrible policies in place, you can see why. That leader doesn't give too much about the customer experience, him or herself. So that's why we have created the fastest growing position in corporate America is the Chief Customer Officer or the Chief Experience Officer. And because you need a leader who's going to lead your company, not your call center, not your relationship, but the entire company. So that's why we've created the Customer Experience Executive Academy, where people can come and we've just kicked off our 2015 class where they come 4 times a year. So consider joining our 2016 class, and it's the Customer Experience Academy, CXEA. It's a great way to get your top people prepared to run your customer's experience in the entire customer experience.
Great, John. Thank you very much. Great stuff as always.
My pleasure.
So thank you for joining us for episode number 7 of CX Talk. We look forward to seeing you next time.
CX Talk is brought to you by the DiJulius Group. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, and visit our YouTube channel monthly for more entertainment and education with John and Dave on CX Talk.